Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of ZNN Interviews. I'm Andy Lagopus, and today we are joined by Cimar of Turalis WildeHopps. I did pronounce that right?
Yep, you did.
Oh, good. I always read it and I'm like, how are you supposed to?
Yeah, it's a frequently asked question of me, so.
Okay, and is it Cimar of Turalis WildeHopps or Cimar of Turalis / WildeHopps and their separate names?
Yeah, I just go them as just one entire name. I just put the / there just so that people wouldn't think it's all one word. But
okay.
Yeah, that
Turalis
and WildeHopps just itself was taken.
Okay, cool. So where does the name Cimar of Turalis come from? I mean, WildeHopps is obvious, but the first part.
I used to be a part of the Zelda fanfiction community a long time ago. So what I was trying to do with that one is I would try and make up some sort of name or something for a character that I was trying to build. And I eventually just came up with the character name of Cimar, followed by a town name of Turalis, because I thought those were kind of Zelda-ish. But then I actually never really used them in a story, so it just kind of stuck.
I totally understand that.
So yeah, I just added WildeHopps because somebody had already taken that as a username once I joined the Zootopia fandom. So it just kind of hodgepodged into the name it is.
Okay. Hey, that's cool. All right. So how long have you been writing?
Kind of in bits and spurts here and there. Back in 2007 to 10, I was part of the Zelda community for a while, just writing off and on. Then I kind of just stopped again until I just hit up with Zootopia, and it just struck a chord with me, so I just started writing for that one again.
All right. Cool. So what initially drew you to writing?
Originally, when I was a kid, I would love reading those golden books, just about animals or anything like that. I grew up in Hawaii for a bit, so we had a lot of books just about the fables of Hawaiian folklore.
Ooh,
so
that's cool.
Yeah, I was just looking through again and just found one about how Maui, slowed down the sun, which is kind of appropriate for Moana just coming out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But so all those kind of books I grew up on. So I always enjoyed writing, reading for about. I tried to draw for a bit, but after a while it just kind of died down after some incidents that happened. So I didn't pick it up again until 2007.
Okay, well, that's cool.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to find those little golden books for Maui.
Yeah, I don't know where you would find them. We bought them 20 years ago now. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, you would probably have to look online just to be able to find them again.
Mm-hmm. What has two thumbs and pulled up the sky? You
Pretty much.
Hide the sky.
Although, yeah, he was very different in the book. He's a skinny little fisherman kid in the book that I have, and not
fisherman kid. Huh.
Yeah. So it's a very different tale than what Disney just told, but still enjoyable.
Yeah, Moana's a great movie.
It is. So,
all right.
Thought about a crossover, but not yet.
Maybe in the future.
Yeah. Maybe as a one-shot or something.
So, what about Zootopia inspired all the different stories you've written? How'd you get dragged into this crazy little fandom of ours?
Well, I just really related with the main character of Nick Wilde. So, I originally watched the movie while on a date, and...
Oh, hey, same here.
Yeah, so even though the date didn't go anywhere, the movie caught on with me, and I went and watched it again the next night.
Ha! I can totally relate. I keep telling people I fell in love that date. Not with the girl, but with the movie.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, both Nick and I have had certain things that have happened throughout our lives that I just instantly related with him. So I just had to write something about it. It just struck that nerve that I needed to get some stories out. I didn't know what the stories were, so I just began writing, kind of as a homage to the movie at first. So that's how my first story began with Always My Sly Bunny, Always My Dumb Fox, it was just supposed to be a 3-chapter homage to the movie. So that's why those chapters are so different than what I posted later on, is because it was just supposed to be those instead of an actual series. And then I saw, wow, okay, so people are actually enjoying this. Maybe I can actually turn it into a whole story. And it just kind of evolved from there.
Awesome. Yeah, I was going to ask like how each story sort of came about. So right now you've got a few different ongoing stories, like
Mm-hmm.
Always My Sly Bunny, Always My Dumb Fox,
Mm-hmm.
The Masked Fox, and you recently finished up 100 Kisses.
Yep, that was a fun one.
So I've heard.
Yeah, 100 Kisses, I came up with the idea just because that was around the time that the motto, "The Fox and Bunny Must Kiss," started showing up on Tumblr, the Zootopia subreddit, and everything. And so I thought, I was like, well, let's see if I can, kind of lend a little writing hand to that. And that story is probably morphed more than any of the other ones that I've ever designed.
Yeah?
Because
How
originally,
so?
again, it was supposed, yeah, I originally only had it as 50 kisses each, which is thus the name 100 Kisses. And
Mhm.
it was supposed to be maybe, I think I had the original outline as 53 total chapters. And then I wrote the first chapter and absolutely loved the idea of it. And I wrote chapter 2 and thought, okay, this is going too quickly. I don't want it to, I don't want to write it that fast. So I decided to lengthen it out, add extra kisses onto it, and just extra scenarios, wacky or otherwise, and just open it up to anything and everything that could happen as part of that bet that the story takes place in. And
Awesome.
yeah, and then people just started falling in love with it. I originally worked with 2 other writers on it, Iriel and Blender Guy 15. And they started writing chapters as well for it. And then I kind of opened it up to a lot of other writers because by that point, I think it was around chapter 8 or 10. I was really wanting to just get the community to join together and have a project that everybody could contribute to. And that's what this story kind of evolved into. So by the end of it, I just had to recount how many people were involved with this process at some point. We had 39 different authors or artists involved in either writing chapters, providing characters, artwork for it. So I'm very
Wow.
proud of that fact that it was able to become such a community project with so many people being able to take part. And then
That
it
is
also,
impressive.
yeah, it was one of my favorite parts about it is just getting to know all of these different people and their, life stories or just why they chose to write. And it sparked a couple of new writers who weren't very known at the time. And I said, come write a chapter for this. I'll start, saying, hey, check out this guy's work, check out your work or anything. And so I like to think that it allowed other people to be noticed as well. Because I felt kind of bad at one point because it seemed like 100 Kisses was kind of soaking up everything and all of the just forget the word to use right there, but just like sucking in everything from the
Okay.
fandom. So I wanted just to like pull it back from the story. And it's like, okay, there are other authors out there
hmm
that are much more
It
talented
it
than
had
me.
been
So
taking
please
so
check them
much you
out.
wanted to give back.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I can
yeah,
totally respect that.
yeah, I wanted it to be that community project so that people could really like find other authors through that, find other stories, and really grow the community together. Because I mean, that's what's going to allow the community to thrive for the long term is everybody knowing each other and getting along and just like welcoming new people as they come.
Yeah, totally agree. And so far I think you've done an excellent job with that. That
I hope
I
so.
mean, yeah. It's led to some really great stories, hasn't it?
Yeah, there was a couple of people who it was their first chapter they've ever written,
Oh
just
wow.
period. So what I would try and do is I would just let them write, maybe give them a prompt if it was an important chapter that needed a little bit of guidance, but otherwise I just let them write. They would send me the completed chapter. I would just do a few minor edits grammatically, punctuation wise, or anything like that, or otherwise I would just leave it be. So any chapter that has written by Sylaxis or written by Blender Guy, those are just their complete chapters. with otherwise no changes for myself.
Awesome. That is seriously cool. So, what about some of your other stories, like The Masked Fox?
Oh, that one's a fun one. It's based off of some artwork from Kung Fu Freak '07 over on DeviantArt. And she originally drew kind of like a homage to I think it was like the 2001 Zorro movie that came out. And so she had a scene of Nick and Judy playing the two characters in that. And I just saw it and instantly messaged her asking, hey, can I write a story based on this picture? And she just kind of said, oh yeah, sure, okay, yeah, go. So it kind of began a partnership with her. And that's where the story spawned from. It's just that one picture.
Nice. And since then, it's spawned other pictures, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've been working closely with her, Yasmin Olivia. I think that's how you pronounce it. Just to do artwork for different chapters that has interested them as the story has kind of progressed.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been a fun journey for that one.
Yeah, I mean, out of all the stories that I've personally had time to read, I don't get much time to read stories myself, but whenever there's a new chapter of The Masked Fox, I will at least try to read it.
Yeah, it's surprised me how popular it's become. I wasn't sure at first that it would take off.
AU to work.
Yeah, it's it's one of those questions when I went down to Disneyland, I asked the people playing Nick and Judy who they thought would be the better Zorro. And the person playing Judy just laughed. And then the guy playing Nick started, swiping with his, false sword or that he was, fake holding there.
On God.
So, yeah, pretty much. So I'm kind of glad I chose the characters as which ones they represent in it.
Well, I mean, Zorro literally does mean fox, doesn't it?
Yeah, I didn't even actually know that until after I started posting. So yeah, Katie was the one who told me that. Just like, hey, did you know that the Zorro means the fox? And I was like, oh, okay, that works.
Yeah, it does work surprisingly well.
Yeah. So I'm just glad people like it, and hopefully I can continue writing it after I finish up Always.
All right. So, what about some of the other stories? You've done a few other ones, correct? Like,
Yep.
I believe I actually gave you a prompt to do one about the Nick's tail, right?
Yes. Yeah, the Tale of Love.
Yeah, shipping Judy with Nick's tail. Not Nick, just his tail.
Yep. I remember that conversation. That was quite interesting. It's kind of sparked another story. I have another set of stories coming up soon that is going to be a mega AU. Basically 40 different ideas that I don't have time to write for each major story of 15, 20, 30,000 words each. So instead I'm just going to make them as 3-chapter or 5-chapter just mini stories. And so I put up some polls over on DeviantArt about which stories people wanted to read the most. And surprisingly, the one about Nick liking Judy's tail and Judy liking Nick's in return garnered one of the top 5 votes for a while out of all 40 ideas. So apparently apparently tail shipping is a thing. So
they don't like the rest of each other, just their tails.
Yeah, just their tails. It makes it painfully awkward to try and write. I'm just focusing on that. But I think the end results have been quite humorous, so I'm happy with them.
Nice. It definitely sounds fun. And
it is.
You said that's for an upcoming project?
Yeah, it's the mega AU called What If. I'm going to try to aim for it coming out in May. And I don't know if I can, but my plan is to do another post a day for it. So I hope I can do it, but all depends on work.
You're seriously prolific, man. Like, I don't know how you do it, like how you write so much every story update we've done has had something of yours almost.
Yeah,
Practically everyone.
Yeah, I enjoy writing. It's probably one of my favorite hobbies. Just after, the Legend of Zelda games, playing those. But
Mhm.
I make the time to write because I know people enjoy it, and I enjoy knowing that people are actually finding excitement and joy from what I write. So that kind of keeps me going for writing so much.
That's awesome. I was going to ask you what kept you motivated, but you just answered that.
Yeah, it's all the people. I mean, hearing how people have enjoyed the stories, or I've had several people just, open up to me about what was going on either in their lives or like why they joined the fandom. And it just makes me really, excited every morning to wake up and it's like, okay, what can I write for them today? Kind of as a way to just know that they're smiling. So,
Aw. Well, that's a fantastic sentiment. Like,
thank you.
that's heartwarming. Like, that's great.
Yeah, I always say that I can count the number of smiles by the number of views that I have. So I always like to see that number go out because that means there's more smiles out there.
I like that. All right. So, do you have any advice for others who are beginning their own stories?
The first bit of advice would be to find somebody who you trust to be an editor or a beta reader for you, just because they will help out the most for beginner writers. If you find somebody that will be able to not only correct either grammatical mistakes or just errors in how you write, but also be able to point out consistency flaws or plot points that wouldn't actually make sense in the environment that you're writing the story in. So, for instance, I've been working with Anglo Falcon now for about maybe 6-7 months, something like that, on Always. And he has pointed out just time and time again points where the plot just wouldn't make sense with how the characters would react or act in situations. And he wasn't afraid to point those out. So when you're writing or beginning to write, that's what I would say just first off is find somebody you trust who would be able to point out those fallacies or flaws in the writing. So that way it creates a better story overall.
Okay. Well, how would you
Uh,
go about finding someone like that? Just
ooh,
someone you really trust, or like someone
yeah.
whose work you admire, or
Yeah, I would just go to like first someone you trust near like just at home or around. If you're in school, you can always ask a teacher. I don't know if they would, but I've had some very nice ones in the past that have helped me out with learning to write on my own. But just somebody that you believe that you can trust to give you that advice. An author you look up to can sometimes help out every now and then. Um, the way that I found Anglo Falcon and my first editor, Bear Malls, was that both of them had reviewed my stories. And I had begun conversations with them and just asked them one day, hey, would you like to help out with editing and beta reading for my story? And thankfully they said yes. So, but otherwise you would have a lot more story off without their help. So, but
okay.
yeah, just go to folks you know.
Sounds great. Well, I'll definitely have to remember that whenever I try my hand at writing fan fiction.
Yeah, hey, if you write, I will be happy to look over your stuff for you.
All right, I'll hold you to that. Okay,
Looking forward
well.
to it.
Okay, so Cimar, thank you so much for coming on to the show and being our second ever victim. I mean, yeah.
Well, I guess I'm still alive, so not a victim yet.
Oh, are you sure about that?
Well, I hope so. Otherwise, my chapter's not coming out tomorrow, and I'm sure everyone's looking forward to that.
Oh, well. Hey, enough with. Just stop the plot. Stop with the sniper. Anyways, It has been an absolute treat to have you on Cimar of Turalis, WildeHopps, everybody. Thank you for coming on to the show, and till next time, I'm Andy Lagopus, and this has been ZNN Interviews. Thank you very much, and good night.